icons and the man behind the masks, plus why fat comedians rule. Chapter 11: The Twilight of My Career. Reflections on the glory days of training horror icons. The glory days. I can practically hear the echo of screams, mostly from actors I trained, and the rustling of my Hawaiian shirts as I reminisce about my time molding some of the most iconic horror figures to ever grace the silver screen. It feels like a lifetime ago when I stepped off my bike cop patrol into the peculiar yet fascinating world of horror film training. A decision influenced largely by the need for a better career prospects. After all, biking around looking for unpaid taxes can only fill your soul and wallet so much. Training Jason Voorhees was like trying to teach a walrus ballet. Impossible for someone with my kind of crazy ideas, yet somehow it worked. There I was, donning my killer training cap, which must which, much to the dismay of my son, is not an actual hat, aiming to bring a certain finesse to Jason's lumbering gait. When other trainers focused solely on the violent aspect of slashing, I brought drama and an art of to the iconic walk. He was a villain, sure, but why shouldn't he also be a misunderstood artist, reminiscent of a happy-go-lucky lumberjack who just happened to have lost his way, and an eye or two? And then there was Michael Myers. Oh, Michael. When I got the call about training him, I thought, surely someone is pulling my leg. Training someone with no visible expression is like trying to reach stand up comedy to a brick wall. Yet there we were, and we connected in ways I never imagined possible. I taught him how to master the art of quite menace. And you know what? The man, or rather the faceless killer, had a natural talent for stillness. We bonded over late night kills and, of course, a shared love for horror music. No one can deny the efficacy of a good synth score when it comes to striking fear in the encamped space, in a cramped space. Plus, he made me a pot of jello. Just kidding. I couldn't quite get him back into the advertising game. But perhaps my most cherished memory is of those late nights under the bleachers of local high schools, training my iconic alumni to be relentless murderers while hoping I could pay off my mortgage. Imagine the bizarre looks I received strolling around in my sweatpants, while the rest of the world was asking, why isn't he wearing something cooler? If only they knew I was prepping future horror legends. Sure, my own son laughed at my choices, but deep down, I knew he was a little proud. Has he ever trained a Jason? I think not. One of the best advantages of being at the helm of such wonderfully absurd ventures was the level of camaraderie and ridiculousness that surrounded me. Picture this: a group of actors rehearsing a climatic chase scene while I coached them through things like body language and the finesse of theatrics, all while juggling a half loaf of bread in one hand and a script in the other. The sheer absurdity of it still leaves me chuckling to this day. I used to tell them that run is just walk with purpose, and after many trial runs, I'm convinced I could have won awards for my overly animated demonstrations. Now that I reflect on those training sessions, a profound sense of nostalgia washes over me. You see, amidst the horror filled antics, I also forged unbelievable friendships, memories that can't be conjured by corrupt tax collection policies or whispered jokes about fat comedians being funnier. My days of training were filled with marvelous mishaps, and each moment has brought an extra layer of character to my twilight years. Yes, my days training horror icons may be behind me now, tucked away like that dusty Hawaiian shirt I never wear anymore. But as I crank the Subaru to head out on one more silly adventure, I enjoy every laugh and scream that echoed in those training sessions. With every retelling, I realized the true essence of those glory days, a sense of belonging within the chaos, a killer legacy, and a rather strange notion that maybe, just maybe, we're all a little mad. But you know what they say, if you're not a little mad, you're missing out on the fun. So here's to the glory days, and let's raise a toast. Imagine the glass to the training of legends, the wisdom gained from successful and unsuccessful endeavors, the sweet nectar of wisdom. I mean, it's like that one leftover slice of pizza you find in the fridge after a wild night out. Sometimes questionable, but when you dig in, oh boy, it reminds you of the good times and the questionable decisions that led to it. My journey as a trainer of horror icon has been a roller coaster of successful memories and, let's just say, bosh attempts that could fill a horror script on their own. Yet through every missed mark in horror film mishap, I've gathered nuggets of wisdom that I carry with me like a trusty knife from Camp Crystal Lake. Starting with the successes, those exhilarating moments where everything clicks. Training Jason Voorhees to craft his iconic lumbering strut became one of those triumphs. Though I don't think anyone should audition for a creepiness award based solely on my coaching. I instilled in him the underlying importance of presence. You don't just chase your victims, you need to make them feel your frightful aurora. Like I always say, walk like you mean it. This mantra not only transformed Jason into a horror legend, but also magically helped me in my personal life. After all, strutting through a grocery store inspired by a fictional killer definitely gen- garners some odd looks and a few laughable comments from onlookers. Conversely, not every training session turned me into the world's leading motivator. Take the time I attempted to teach Michael Myers how to smile, which is shocking considering he has no visible face. Talk about a challenge. Sometimes I could swear he was really just a method actor with a penchant for staring blankly. If your victim can't see your eyes smiling, don't bother, I declare, only to receive a blank stare in response. Who knew training a killer meant navigating touchy subjects? Eventually, I learned this. Some characters are best left untouched, and coaxing a smile from a faceless man is about as effective as getting Adam Sandler to do Shakespeare. Within the realm of unwelcome lessons, say hello to the day I opted to train Ashley Arpel in a more dramatic role. You see, as her agent, I assumed I had a knack for micromanaging her horror persona. We tried the scary whisper technique, and let's just say the neighbors didn't appreciate her implementing at 2 a.m. with horrendous falsettos. If a comedic actress fears horror, maybe it's time to regroup. The fiasco taught me that sometimes the right strategy is to stand back and let talent shine instead of putting them through the meat grinder of my brainy ideas. So I learned the importance of knowing your team's strengths. If they're built for comedy, let them serve up laughs instead of letting them tread into nightmare territory. I have to reflect on the balance between successes and failures, akin to a perfect recipe. Like any great dish, every ingredient matters. Too much drama, and it becomes corny. Too little suspense, and the horse sinks to mediocrity. That's why seasoning each training session with an understanding of individual styles is key. An unforgettable lesson learned from watching countless whodunit films. Just like adding a pinch of salt can elevate a meal, sometimes the softest words suffice instead of a strict yelling, especially when your actor thinks you're bloodthirsty. Trust me, I've received my fair share of shrieks in response. In addition to wisdom from what I've attempted in training, I also gained a unique perspective on life's curveballs, especially those that resemble a poorly executed scene in a low budget horror flick. For instance, I once mistook a shopping spree for a training seminar in the art of stealth and precision. How could I know that sneaking through the clearance aisles at the local supermarket could lead to a delightful but loud encounter with a pineapple display? But hey, those moments reveal the beauty in life. It's not always about achieving the ideal horror scenario. Sometimes it's about the laughter you create when disasters unfold. At the end of the day, the wisdom I've accumulated from my brush with the macabre is as valuable as it is humorous. The peculiar blend of success and failure taught me more than a few life lessons. My journey unfolded lessons on personality, style, and self awareness, proving that sometimes you learn most by failing. So pick up the slice of leftover pizza, or metaphorically speaking, those odds and ends of wisdom, and embrace the delightful blend of craziness. For in this life, there is no mistakes, just outrageous stories waiting to be told. Embracing aging, the physical and mental changes. Aging, it's like the slow realization that your killer instincts is getting a little rusty. That sagging donut of a belly isn't just a costume choice, and that your dreams of becoming an acclaimed horror icon trainer come with a sprinkling of gray hair. Welcome to the club, my friends. It's a hilariously absurd journey filled with knee creaks and, dare I say it, existential reflections that make you ponder if you still have what it takes to frighten the socks off a generation of moviegoers. Let's dive into the physical changes first. It's a bit like waking up on a day to find out your body was swapped you for an older model and it forgot to include the useful features. I once leapt out of an invisible bush, part of my ill-fated training stealth module, only to discover my knees audibly protested the stunt. Not quite what you want when crafting an air of fearlessness. Picture me landing with all the grace of a semi truck and groaning like I'm auditioning for a part in a low budget horror flick. It's not exactly the image of a trainer who works with slasher legends. It's hard to convince actors that they should strike fear in people when you're cradling an ice pack on your knees and contemplating the benefits of taking up knitting as opposed to lunging. Of course, the changes are more than just physical. The awkward dance between endurance and reminiscence become vital as you confront your own metamorphosis. I remember gallivanting around Los Angeles giving advice to up and coming horror filmmakers with visions for their chilling masterpieces. Yet somehow, these days, I find myself lured into discussion about arthritis remedies over lunch. Where did the time go? Shouldn't I still be the spry trainer who preaches the importance of lunge capacity while pretending to lunge at unexpected victims in the park? Instead, I appeared to have traded my athletic vigor for the warm embrace of early bird specials. You might think that aging would mean less passion for the craft, but in truth, it stirs elastic emotions within. I may have traded in my bike cop uniform and the exhilarating chase of catching non task compliant cyclists for the warm, cozy embrace of navigating life's shifting priorities. My dear friend Jacob, the Godfather, reminds me of my purpose every time we indulge in crackling conversations about horror and the past. I tell them that now our scares come with dashes of wisdom, conversations that explore fear not just as a killer's blueprint, but a source of reflection. We often joke about how we need to keep our hunters guessing, though I think we're actually the ones being hunted now by time itself. Yet with these changes does come wisdom, the age old gift that sprinkles itself over those who live long enough to see through the lens of ridiculousness. I've learned to appreciate the simpler things, like quiet afternoons, and the soothing sound of podcasts, all while drawing parallels to my past life. You grow to love the absurdity of an endeavor, whether it's training a horror villain or lovingly making peace with the fact that you're no longer first choice. Mentally aging brings the nifty realization that comedy often flourishes for the absurdities of existence. Who would have thought? Though I still assume myself be by insisting fat comedians are the funniest, I now realize they might be addressing the heart of the human experience with unapologetic zest. Despite my battering body and contemplative cranium, I find solace in the process of embracing the unpredictable adventure. I may possess the physical prowess of somewhat confused tortoise, but mentally, I'm a pumpkin spice latte at a horror film festival. I love dishing out advice to film crews struggling to harness their inner killers while weaving a laughter infused narrative. It's like guiding inspired actors toward their path, wrapped in sarcasm, allowing us to celebrate life's peculiarities, much like a haunted house where every corner brings a spooky surprise. And I'm proud to be the wisecracking ghost. So here I am, weaving through the realization of aging with humor, and perhaps gaining confidence in my real resilience amidst all the creaking and groaning. Training horror legends may have been my playground, but aging has transformed it into a treasure trove of wisdom where every wrinkle tells a story. I hope to continue evolving, becoming a character richer in experience, finding joy in the ridiculousness, and savoring the past as I become part of the very legacy I sought to shape. Aging may be inevitable, yet embracing each eccentric phase is where the true beauty of life and horror resides. The importance of a legacy in the horror industry. Legacy in the horror industry is as vital as a killer's signature weapon. Without it, characters fall flat and stories lose their spine. It's the thread that binds the scary tales together, reminding us of the creepy yet captivating prowess of icon villains who've terrified our dreams and filled our popcorn laden movie nights with chills. As I reflect on my time training legendary figures of fright, I can't help but understand the significance of legacy in a genre rooted in creativity and dashed of lovely lunacy. You see, every horror film is built on the foundation laid by those who came before it. I often tell aspiring filmmakers that in a world filled with creepy masked lunatics, their biggest competition isn't just the slasher tropes, but maintaining connection in the spirit of legacy. Why stick to a rusty chainsaw and jump scares when you can spin a tale that reverberates through generations? Think about it. What makes Michael Myers so enticing? It's the eerie background music, the slow lumbering approach, and of course, the spooky mask that has created a legacy so strong it could withstand even the most turbulent horror trend of the decade. The man has become synonymous with fear, all thanks to the meticulous crafting of his legacy. The training session. I remember one time training Jason to embody the essence of slasher stardom. We discussed his legacy over smoothies, healthy choices, you know. I pointed out how, amidst his reputation as a campfire story, he is genuinely a figure you can't overlook. The kid is a testament to patience, trudging through countless cliches and reboots while staying true to the core of who he is. There's a beauty in building a legacy while not being afraid to take up the rusty machete and stir the pot every now and then. Horrific, perhaps, but isn't it invigorating to build layers atop chaos? Then there's the importance of a legacy beyond the flesh and blood characters of films. As a character of horror legends, I often ponder my own legacy. What exactly will my contribution to the cosmic horror playground be? I mean, aside from crafting the perfect training regimen for aspiring killers and proving the fat comedians are the funniest of them all. Every unforgettable encounter forms parts of my legacy, blending the comedy of my life, absurdity with the spine chilling breakthroughs in coaching, the lords, inspiring the dark lords. It's almost poetic. A pinch of laughter, a dollop of terror, a slash of suspense of supreme absurdity. This is the essence of what should unite in my legacy. Furthermore, legacies don't merely rest with the characters, they flow through the hands of the creatures as well. Directors, writers, producers all craft their own narratives and distinct legacies throughout their stories. A true horror aficionado observes not just the chilling moments on screen, but the echoes of influence resonating from their predecessors. Alfred Hitchcock, for example, crafted suspense using whispers, shadows, and a malevolent edge that inflates even the lightest moments. It's about overcoming the temptation to simply create a run of the mill shock and instead employ a tapestry of legacy drawn from the rich spectrum of horror history. Coaching is so much more than showing a killer how to look menacing. It's about embedding a legacy within the fabric of the industry. From each gruesome act of creativity to layers of humor that emerge amidst sequels of terror. It makes me chuckle at the thought of training a new generation of horror icons while weaving its bits of legacy into their stories. Picture me, rain checking my workout routine and that analyze their backgrounds and encourage them to not just embody terror, but to mirror the legacies they inherit. It's the kind of world where laughter coexists in the shadowy corners of a haunted mansion, sprinkling humor throughout the fear. In essence, the horror industry legacy lies at the intersection of creativity, nostalgia, and our primal instincts. It shapes those who tread into the darkness and resonate with a connection that only the terrifying can understand. My experience in nurturing the next generation of macabre icons taught me that while the scares may evolve, the legacy we build, whether as a horror fanatic, a trainer, or a laugh inspiring observer, is paramount. As we cast figures into the somatic void, let us remember to blend terror and humor, imagination with respect, crafting enduring legacies that resonate with screams, laughter, and everything that squirms in between. Plans for the future, a legacy to leave behind. The future, it beckons like a shadowy scepter in a horror flick, often lurking just out of sight, whispering cryptic messages of what's to come while I'm still over here navigating a modern world that seems to grow increasingly chaotic by the minute. As I sit and meditate on the question of what my legacy will be, I can't help but feel a blend of anxiety or hilarious anticipation. After years spent training horror icons, my thoughts turn to how I might reshape my image and, and contribute something meaningful to the genre that has consumed my life. And yes, while inducing a little laughter along the way. First and foremost, let's discuss my plan to create a school of sorts. Let's call it the MTD Academy of Quirky Horror Training. Imagine a whimsical place where aspiring filmmakers could dive deep into the art of horror with just a sprinkle of comedy. Here, we would passionately embrace the ludicrous while training would be killers, focusing on how to deliver consistent creepiness while maintaining a candid sense of humor. I envision students sitting on benches shaped like gravestones, passionately discussing the ins and outs of effective jump scares while occasionally falling victim to practical jokes delivered by yours truly. A classic freeze frame moment where everyone erupts in laughter while trapped in the spine chilling beauty of horror. Trust me, I'd make sure they'd remember the joy of shadowy figures, surprise appearances, and laughing uncontrollably at monstrous cliches. And speaking of legacy, I've got this wild plan to pen a book that combines my training experiences with heartfelt insights about horror, humor, and a good laugh. Picture it. I trained Voorhees. Horrific tales from the dark side, plus why laughter should be on the murder menu. It'll be a hilarious exploration of the absurd moments behind the curtain of legendary horror, blending the terror of my training experiences with the juicy punchlines that kept me rolling through the years. Each chapter will spark laughter, whether it's reflecting on chaotic filming days or the silliness of trainers like myself whispering ex- exaggerated antidotes over moonlit campsites. I envision vivid descriptions of slasher training mishaps, coupled with nuggets of wisdom akin to if you can't outrun them, just make sure to wear your comfiest shoes. Of course, what would a legacy be without a dash of technological savviness? I've been toying with the idea of launching an online course where aspiring horror experts can learn from tales of my wacky past. Welcome to MTD's Horror Training Course, where laughter meets legend. Not only will students dive into the mind boggling aspects of the villain's ethos, but they'll also learn how to craft effective jokes and comedic moments that can triumph gravity defying scares. Honestly, who wouldn't want to delve into a blend of fear and horror? The course may focus on lessons like how to review a horror film while maintaining your sanity and creating characters who are as ridiculously zealous as your first introductory speech. But even as I lay the groundwork for my future endeavors, I can't shake off the thought of my friendships I've nurtured over the years. My pals, the Godfather Jacob, Roger, and all my crazy crew will be crucial in my foray into the upcoming era. Picture gathering where we brainstorm ways to merrily spread those jovial tales, crafting skits that encourage others to embrace their unique journeys to the humorous side of horror. Maybe we can gather around an open fire, sharing our stories while turning the classic campfire horror story experience into something that's equal parts spine tingling and laughter inducing. Above all, I want my legacy to demonstrate the humor and horror are closely intertwined, a fact I'll happily champion until the end of my twilight career. I seek to create a passion that not only reminds us of the goodness of laughter, but also shows that when we embrace our inner monsters, hilarity flourishes. So, dear friends, grab your popcorn and be ready for the ride. My future will be filled with reflections, practical courses, and endless laughter that resonates through the fog shrouded realms of the horror genre. Who knew that age could be accompanied by such joy and a promise to inspire the next generation of comedic storytellers? Let future slasher icons remember my legacy as one fueled by laughter, a unique blend of themes and dynamics that challenges the age old boundaries of horror while celebrating what it means to be human and a little bit weird. After all, if laughter can ease fear, then I'm here to ensure everyone can embrace both aspects, crafting a legacy that encourages confidence, humor, and a love for everything that goes bump in the night. The Hopecast Network has reached out to MTD for further questioning on the events that he has written about. His whereabouts are unknown at this time.